Daniel never imagined his life would come to this. 10 years of marriage, a decade of love, trust, and sacrifices, only to be repaid with the deepest betrayal. He had always believed in Olivia. She was his best friend before she became his wife, the woman he had vowed to love and protect for the rest of his life. He had worked tirelessly to give her a good life, to build a future where she never had to worry. But over the past year, things had changed. Olivia had grown distant. She was always on her phone, smiling at messages she wouldn't share. She started staying out late, claiming she was busy with work. The warmth in her touch had disappeared, and when Daniel kissed her, he could feel the emptiness. At first, he ignored the signs. He told himself he was overthinking, that she was just stressed. But the doubt gnawed at him, keeping him awake at night. That night, he had planned a surprise. He cooked her favorite meal, set up a candlelit dinner at home, and even played the song from their wedding night. He wanted to bring back what they had lost. She never came home. Worried, he called her. No answer. His chest tightened with unease. He tried again. Still nothing. A terrible thought crossed his mind, one he had been trying to push away for months. His hands trembled as he opened his phone and checked her location through the app they had for emergencies. She was at a hotel. Daniel's heart stopped. He stared at the screen, willing it to be a mistake. But deep down, he knew. Without thinking, he grabbed his keys and rushed out of the house. His mind raced as he drove through the dark streets, his knuckles turning white as he gripped the steering wheel. Please, God, let me be wrong. Let there be another reason. When he reached the hotel, his worst fears solidified. Olivia's car was parked outside. He felt a sharp pain in his chest, like someone had stabbed him. His legs felt heavy as he walked inside. The receptionist barely looked up as he made his way toward the elevator. His breaths were shallow, his pulse pounding in his ears. With each floor he ascended, his heart broke a little more. Finally, he stood in front of the door, room 307. His hands shook as he reached for the handle. It was slightly open. She didn't even lock it. He pushed the door open, stepping inside. And then, his world shattered. Olivia was in bed with another man. Neither of them had noticed him yet. She was wrapped around him, her bare body pressed against the stranger's, her lips on his neck. Their clothes were scattered across the floor, and the air was thick with betrayal. Daniel felt like the ground had been ripped from beneath him. His chest tightened, and his vision blurred with rage and heartbreak. A strangled sound escaped his throat, and Olivia's head snapped up. Her eyes widened in horror. "Daniel," she gasped, scrambling to pull the sheets over her. The man beside her jolted awake, his expression shifting from confusion to fear as he saw the fury burning in Daniel's eyes. Daniel's fists clenched, his breathing ragged. "How long?" His voice was barely above a whisper, yet it carried the weight of his shattered soul. Olivia's lips trembled. "I can explain." "How long?" he roared, his voice shaking the room. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't answer. That silence was louder than any confession. Daniel let out a bitter laugh. So this wasn't the first time. The man now sitting up tried to speak. "Look, man, Shut up," Daniel snapped, his glare silencing him instantly. He turned back to Olivia, his eyes filled with hurt. "I gave you everything, Olivia. My time, my love, my loyalty. And this is how you repay me?" Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I didn't mean to hurt you." Daniel's hands curled into fists. "You didn't mean to?" He let out a hollow laugh. "You chose to. Every time you lied to me, every time you came home late, Every time you looked me in the eyes and told me you loved me, you chose to betray me." She sobbed, clutching the sheets as if they could shield her from his pain. "I was lonely. You were always working. I felt unwanted." Daniel's heart twisted painfully. "Unwanted?" His voice cracked. "Olivia, I worshipped you. Every single thing I did was for you, for us, and you threw it all away. For him." The weight of betrayal pressed down on him, suffocating. He had never felt so broken, so worthless. The woman he had loved with everything in him had given herself to someone else while he waited at home, believing in a love that no longer existed. A heavy silence filled the room. Olivia reached for his hand, but he stepped back as if her touch would burn him. "Daniel, please," she whispered. "I still love you." He stared at her, a deep sadness settling in his eyes. "No, you don't." A sob escaped her lips, her body trembling. "I made a mistake." Mistake. That word sliced through him like a blade. A mistake was forgetting an anniversary. A mistake was losing car keys. Cheating wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. And Olivia had made her choice. Daniel took a deep breath, his body shaking. "I don't hate you, Olivia, but I will never forgive you for this." She broke down, crying into her hands. "Don't leave me, Daniel. Please, we can fix this." His eyes burned with unshed tears, but he forced himself to remain strong. "No, Olivia. You broke this." Without another word, he turned and walked out. With each step he took, the pain grew stronger, threatening to consume him. But he didn't look back, because sometimes, no matter how much you love someone, you have to love yourself more. And Daniel deserved better than shattered vows.